Hello, I'm Draken and welcome to the Draken Gameworks. So this is going to be the first video in a whole series I'm planning on doing a Let's Play in Minecraft with the Minecraft world that I've been working on. And I want to just show you a little bit about it. In this first episode, it's going to be a little bit less of a Let's Play and more of a Let's Show, because I've really been working on in this world for about 3-4 months now, the design that I've been doing out there, and I want to be able to take you around, show you what I've done so far, and then the rest of the series we will continue to follow, because there's a lot more I want to be doing here and a lot more progress that I want to be doing around the base here. No. Oh, ooh, Drac. Okay, that was a great start. And falls off and immediately jumps to his death. I tell you what, right? I do streaming quite regularly and I fall quite regularly, but that one just takes the biscuit. I am not used to working in third person at all. Oops, indeed. Right, okay, let's get back to where we've left our stuff there. Yeah, I can tell I'm used to normally streaming around all the time, playing the game quite a lot on Twitch and everything else and chatting away, and I'm not used to doing it on video and doing video recording, so like I completely muck it up there. So let's get back to our stuff, and maybe we could show you what was going on in a second, and I could try and do what I was doing a minute ago. Okay, so there's the map of the base so far as it stands at the moment. As you can see at the top there, I started in the section that was at the very top there. We built all that bit. I planned to build right in the center, you can see the map, basically the sort of the bottom left area. I plan to build a cathedral and a bit more of a city district in here. Currently I'm working on the harbour district, which is over on the right hand side that you see of the map. But the first bit we worked on, as I said, was the bit at the top. So we'll start there with our tour. We'll start at the very back of the actual base, and we'll just go for a wander through. It's a very medieval fantasy, high fantasy build that we've been working on here. So it'd be nice to sort of show a bit of it off to you. So at the far end of my base here, I have this. This is my iron farm that's sat out the back here. It's based off a design that's done by Avamance, and like all of these sort of farms that you might see in here, a lot of them I've gained inspiration from and designs from various people on YouTube and everything else like this. So I will link up in the comments below, or in the description below, I should say, where I've got all the inspiration from for all the farms that I've got here, where I've based the designs from. So this one is based on the design by Avamance. As I said, the link will be down in the description below for his iron farm tutorial here. And what I've done is I've sort of spruced it up around the outside to sort of fit in with the theme of what we got here. So you've got like these wooden pillars up here, and the sandstone and the stone all around and everything else. And I seem to have left a dirt block in the corner there. It's like going around now, and I'm spotting all the mistakes as I'm going around. But yeah, this is the iron farm. It seems I need to put a few more villagers in there. I had a bit of disasters experimenting with villager breeders at the very beginning, though that's improved ever since. But this is technically the far end of the base here, and then you've got like the fortified wall that goes around the outside goes down here. There's, like you can see in the distance there's a bridge going over there that I need to work on. That'll be something that we might work on with a future video as well. And this is the back of what I call my keep. The interior of the keep is still yet to be sorted out, so forgive me for the mess inside of this keep. But if we come around into here, this is going to be my main place of residence. I need to put in a floor. If you've ever seen these guys on YouTube, there's a few people who do it, where they have these mirrored builds and everything, where they build these rooms, and then they build them again going opposite direction downwards, and then put in a mirrored floor. So I started working on that, and well, actually I didn't just start working on it. I've actually done both the up bit and also the down bit there that you can see as well. If we take that off there, take off the interface for a second so we can see it all. So you can see that we've actually got the reflection already built. So we built both directions, but I've still yet to put the floor in properly. And now I've started with clear glass, but I'm not so sure if I like it. And I think maybe we should be using like dyed glass, maybe like a black or a grey glass going across it. Of course, the problem with that is that you need squid ink for that. And yeah, I'm using up all my squid ink on something else at the moment. However, moving up into the upper floors of this tower and everything else, the one thing this place actually really gives us, as well as this huge tower that comes up here, is that we've also got an access to a sort of balcony up here where we can actually look out over the rest of the build. And as you can see, it's starting to come along quite nicely. It's quite a big township at the moment. Well, it's developing into a township. There's still, as I said, lots more I want to develop at the time, but as you can see straight ahead, this section here is the bit that we started with. This is the actual main keep area, and then we've got the harbour over and to the right there. Plus we've got a load of farms I want to show off down at the bottom here as well, so we're going to have a look at those in a second. But also, yeah, just wanted to show up here as well what the view is like from up here. We've obviously got the other sides here. We got like a little hatch down there actually that brings us up onto the roof from the attic in the manor house itself. Like I said, I still got to sort out the interior of the manor house. I'm not quite happy with where it's at. Obviously, this is the iron farm at the back there, and you can see just off to the left there, we've also got our kelp farm, which we'll go and check out now. So coming around from the side of the iron farm here, we've got a couple of little elevators here, and I tell you what, the 1.13 update and the aquatic update has given us some great things with lifts, and that bubble column we got off to the right there for using upwards lifts has been an absolute blessing. This area here, this is our kelp farm. I have based it partially on a design by Cubfan, you know, one of the guys who does Hermitcraft. He has this brilliant design for a kelp farm that he does, but he does his double-sided. I actually didn't do it the full double side. I only did it on the one side. So it's like half of his farm, I suppose, and if you could say in that sense, where we've got a large bunch of observers all sort of lined up in front of these kelp. When the kelp grows up in front of the, as you can see there, just suddenly triggered off there for us a second, nice and cute. Yeah, it will turn around, it will chop the kelp up. It tends to bounce up, and sometimes you see it bounce back down again for a second, but it will all eventually rise to the top, and as you can see there, it flows straight over the lip of the building there, and into another channel just off to the left here. As I say, Cubfan's version is actually double this, so it has another bank all on the opposite side, and it all flows into a central channel. Mine's only half that, but it still does give us quite a nice bit there to work with. And if we jump back over here and come down, where all that kelp is going to is I've also set it up so that, if I can give my thing back there, we go into here, we actually have automatic smelting going on in here. So if we come up here, we've got some smelters in here, and you can see it's already got dried kelp blocks, and all the kelp leaves automatically fall into there. They come down into chests at the bottom here that we can then pick these up, convert them over into dried kelp blocks, and we can then use that to repower this furnace. But you always get surplus, and because we get surplus, we can then go and chuck it into our auto smelters that we also have, which I'll show off in a second as we get around the corner. Underneath the kelp farm, though, as well, we've got a few additional things here. So we got down here, we got a little turtle farm here. I decided that I might want turtle eggs one day, so I managed to bring myself back a couple of turtles, or a couple of turtle eggs that I found out in the wild, planted them down here so they've hatched here, so I can now actually breed up as many turtle eggs as I want. It takes a little bit of time to do, but we have two little turtles here. I might want those, especially for when I haven't developed one yet, but I plan to make a gold farm at some point. And if we come through the other side, this is directly under the stream where we have all that kelp coming down in here. We've also got ourselves a little bit of a chicken coop, but all the chickens seem to be, well, gone. Oh, what happened to them? There's like nothing here to kill them. Like literally, there's nothing that should be any danger to them. There's a couple sort of tucked away in the corner here, and we have one in here and the coop in here, but we seem to have lost a couple. Oh. Not sure what's going on there. That's a bit bizarre. Okay, look, we will carry on then and have a look at the rest of it. Okay, so we come down here, we pass a couple of sheep here. We'll come back to those in a second. But we've got a little cactus farm here, based on another design by Avamance here, where we use glass sheets above it here, so that when the cactus grow, it automatically breaks them and drops them into these streams. So we do produce quite a bit of cactus in here. I have recently emptied it, so there's not a lot left in there. But we actually double floored it as well. So we got 2 layers of this one. But all of them come down to this bottom layer here as well. Does lose the old cactus every now and then, but this sheer amount of it produces, that's not a problem. Losing a couple here every now and then is not an issue. And as I say, here's the upstairs section as well. Pretty much identical, other than the fact that instead of having a stream at the end, it just has a drop down into the stream below. But yeah, no, very handy with that one. We've got a couple of houses along here. There's actually quite a lot of houses that I built around in this area. Some of them are empty. Some of them, like this one around the corner here, actually I've done some interior work on there a second. So we've got like a little sofa there with some tables at the end there. Little kitchen area as well. And then we come up here, we've got a little bit of a bedroom as well. Very basic, very, very basic up here. I haven't done it with all of them. That's something I've got to come back and do, is actually sort out all the interiors. But this here on the left, that's my vine farm. So you can barely see anything in here because actually it needs to all be trimmed up again. But sometimes I need a bit of vines, especially if I'm doing anything with mossy bricks, then you need a few bits. So we got quite a lot that grows. It gives me more than enough for all my needs in there. Then we built a tavern at the end here as well. So this is my tavern and inn. There's a bunch of rooms upstairs. They're all quite tiny. It's quite cramped inside actually, but there's a load of beds and stuff like that, so it's quite handy. Plus a little bit of a pub on the side there as well. And if we come over here, we come back down towards the keep here and go to the left. we have here my farm that I've got here. You see a few builds like this where you have these sort of staggered things. It's a bit of a manual farm for food and everything else here. I've got a few carrots and potatoes growing on this level in the upper levels, but I have this across 3 levels, so the upper levels have wheat on it as well. So if we come up here, I won't activate it right now because they haven't fully grown yet, but there's a lever here, and clicking that lever will activate a water stream at the very top here. If we come up here, it will basically, you can see in here, there is a bunch of pistons. Pulling that lever will drop the pistons. Behind there's a bunch of water, and it will just flush the water down here. Because of the dimensions, I should have brought a plow with me so I could replant that. I knew I was going to do something like that. It'll flush the water down there, and there's a gap at the very end here. That gap then leads down to the next level. Let's just say it's about 3 levels here, and the water will continue to flow downwards and hit there, and then flow all the way down to a final gap over here. That will bring it down to the ground floor, washes it all down to here, down to a bunch of hoppers at the end here, and finally into this chest here. I can then pick them all up, and I can then go around and quickly replant everything, and that gives me most of the food that I should ever need in this place. There's another house in here, but we've got a couple of little pet wolves in here. Look at them, little adorable ones sitting down there in their little pen there. We've got another house up there that's above our auto fences. We're going to have a look at those in a second. This is the Zucker house. I do apologise for my very bad pronunciation of German there, aka the sugar house. It's kind of a play on words. We have one of our regulars who pops into the stream. He goes by the name of Zuckerhose, sugar pants, basically, if you want to translate that into English. He's quite regularly there, so I thought I'd call this the Zucker house in his name and everything else, because I used to mispronounce his name quite often as Zucker house or Zuckerhose or something like that, and it's really bad mispronunciation. But what we have here is a little shed at the top here, and in here we get sugar just flowing in regularly. This comes from a bunch of sugarcane farms that we have down beneath here. So you can see in here we've got a bunch of sugarcane all grown across about 3 different levels. So it all flows into these channels that then drop down into the very bottom channel that comes across these hoppers. This then leads to an item elevator that then drops it all the way back, takes it all the way back up and into the chest you see at the top there. One thing with this one is being based on designs by someone called Green Guitar Guy Games, and I'll leave the link, as I said, with all the tutorials at the bottom there. It's worth checking out. The nice thing about this one, it doesn't use observers, so it's not putting the sort of the observer demand on the server as well. So it's quite nice. It uses instead like an update with the redstone in the blocks above it there. Worth checking out there if you're looking at building a sugar farm and everything else and want to do it without using observer blocks. This one's quite well worth it. If we come back up here quickly and go back out of here, we have another farm here. This is my melon and pumpkin nursery. This one is based on designs by FedEx Gaming. And again, pumpkins and melons, they all grow in exactly the same way. We've got a double floor building here. This will look very different to the version he did. It looks very futuristic. I've obviously built mine to look a bit more fitting with this sort of high fantasy medieval look that I've got for my city here. But yeah, again, it does have some losses that go with it, unfortunately. You can hear that was the bottom one firing off. I thought we'd see the top one fire off, but it does lose some every now and then, but again it produces such a vast quantity anyway of pumpkins and melons that there's not actually that much of a problem at all that we lose the odd one every now and then. So though it hasn't quite got the best efficiency, it is pretty not too bad at all. And then over here we've got some furnaces here built in the ground, and these are based on designs by Skippy6. Basically, I like these designs, but there's all this clicking that goes on. I like the fact that you can't see the furnaces. It is just basically a bunch of chests up here. You've got one chest that you put fuel into, another one that you put your goods that you're going into. So you might like to have, for example, we've got nothing in that one actually. So, oh, that one actually, well, we've got those ones empty. Right, okay, so we like here, I got loads and loads of cobblestone that I want to burn into stone itself. You then drop fuel into the fuel one, and then in the output one, you'll have loads of what the finished product is. Then it drops it all back out there. So these are quite handy. The only thing is that it uses these droppers to actually fire the items upwards, and that's why you get this clicking noise that you hear as well, which also causes a little bit of lag when you're in the local area as well. So I'm sort of kind of losing favour with these, but I've used them for quite a long time, so they've been quite handy so far. Right, before we check out the other end of the base, just underneath that keep that we have here, we'll start over here actually. This area here is actually where I first started on this server. I started here when I first came down. I was looking for an area and I found this valley that stretched all the way down here between a couple of mountain ranges, and I dug myself a hole into the side of the cliff that was here and built myself a little cubby hole, mainly just out of dirt to begin with, and then I just expanded it and built it up. So this is actually where I started here, and then I just built everything else all around it. And my very first farms were actually in here as well. So you can see where we had the initial furnaces, and this was the very first crafting table that we had. We got a room full of cows off to the side there. That could be quite handy. If we come up here, I had my very first proper farm that I built was the sheep farm, because I needed wool for beds and everything else like that. So I led some sheep up here, and then I expanded it and ended up with all sorts of different colours and getting different dyes, and ended up with a second floor as well. So we've got this floor full of more sheep up here as well. So we got about 2 layers, 6 pens full of sheep in here. That's quite handy. This floor also used to house, there used to be a door here. You can see the torches either side of where it would have been. That used to be our old sugar farm. It was like a smaller version of the one that you see down there. And also over here, and I still got the sign up here, though I never removed the sign, though I've removed everything else. There used to be a chicken farm in there as well that was also producing loads of eggs. But I got rid of both of them because that big tower on the side of the keep, where we were building the reflection downwards, ended up cutting through the area where both of those farms were. So I had to get rid of those to put the tower in place. And yeah, I didn't need, in the end, so many chicken eggs being laid through a small chicken farm. So I didn't, all we ended up building was that small little chicken area that you saw underneath the kelp farm. And over here, obviously, we got the sugar farm's been replaced with something much, much bigger. Downstairs then as well, we got our vault. So we got a little vault in here. This is my original vault. I got 3 vaults now in the build. But this is where I originally stored everything. Just created a nice little design of a vault. Nothing automatic about this one. It's just a straightforward vault. And over here, using the old style of water elevators, where you put water and then signs every other so that you can jump up and down. This is basically my entrance into where I do all my mining. So I go down from here. You can see the bottom end of that tower where the reflection comes downwards. So this is like the reflection of the dome is actually built into the ground here. It just cuts through this chamber a little bit. But we found this massive ravine that's underneath here. It goes for miles under the ground here. And we can get all the way down to bedrock from here. And that's where I get all my diamonds and redstone and everything that I need for all my various builds. And this one we can just come under here and just press jump, and it takes us straight back up again through here. It's pretty slow compared to the bubble elevators. I much favour the bubble elevators using soul sand now. But that's quite a nice one in there anyway in itself. But yeah, and then we have this, which was built later on. If we come through here, I know some people might comment about the whole fact that I've used a lot of diorite in here. I know some people aren't so keen on it. Actually, I think it didn't go too badly in this room, but to be honest. Yes, this is my nether portal here that leads through to the nether. We'll explore that later on with the nether portals, because I've done a few more bits and connected them all up. But yeah, that's where our nether portal is inside the base itself. As we head up to the other side of the keep area, there's a little passageway that leads through to here. Now, in here, this is my second vault that I built. And I didn't build it that long ago, actually, to be fair. And as you can see, it's much more compact. And you may also notice there's like a water stream directly above it. And there's actually loads of hoppers down behind. If we go through here, we can see them all the mechanisms behind here. Because that's right, we got an automatic sorter working through here. So the initial part of the automatic sorter is this chest. You pop items into here. It then fires them off all along these water streams going along the top here until it finds where the items are supposed to go, and then theoretically supposed to drop them down the chain here. And these chests we've got 4 chests for each one here. It's probably a bit excessive for some of the items on here, though things like the cobblestone and everything else, they fill up obviously quite quickly because we do a lot of mining. I've done a lot of terraforming on here. I cannot tell you how much terraforming I've done on this, but yeah, and I do find sometimes it doesn't quite work. I would link up to a tutorial on that, but when I built this one, I went and explored a lot of options. There are a lot of people who have put up tutorials for automatic farming, automatic sorters, sorry, rather than automatic farming. So I couldn't tell you whose design it was originally. I hear somewhere along the lines, maybe Tango Tech, maybe had done the original idea and designs or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. I don't know. Someone might be able to correct me in the comments below. But I certainly know that a lot of this, there's a lot of people out there who've done designs on this. And so I sort of kind of basically based my design based around what a lot of other people done there. It's a fairly common design now that's used by a lot of people for an item sorter. And these 2 chests on the end here, these are my overflow protection. So anything that doesn't actually end up in these, or if it runs over, it all ends up in these 2 chests at the end. coming back out here, we come around to the corner here. We have a look at the bottom, stay at the bottom here. This was just going to be a little newbie area where I was going to fill up these chests with new things for newcomers to the server. But over the side here, I've also got the beginnings of my train station. Well, it's basically this train station sort of done, but there's no tunnels. The train tracks go nowhere at the moment because I haven't actually dug out all the rest of the tunnels. That's something to be done in the future point, maybe on stream or something at some point. But yeah, we got a bunch of tracks there and everything else that are ready for when we put more train stations in to get us around. I wanted a few transport options when we were running around this place. And if we come around the back of the train station, so we come down here beside the pub, got a little bit of an indoor market here. So we've got a few little goods in here, including a little chicken there in his little cage at the bottom there. We've got a few things like cakes and everything else all on the stalls here. Just a bit of an outdoor market. Did I call it an indoor market then? Yeah, it's an outdoor market. It's outdoors. And then we've got a little elevator that comes up here. And this is at my cartography hall. So if we come through here, again, it's not complete, but we got much more maps around, much more maps than the one that we saw at the bottom there. So you can see my forts all the way at the top there, and as we come down there, we've got all of this land to explore here. I do have a few outposts out and about in the world, like this little square at the bottom here. This is a little outpost out on top of a tall mountain. I got another one somewhere up there. There's another mountain. Another mountain? No, there's another outpost up there that we also use. Just that if we wanted to go out and explore into the world, we've got other places that we can stop off and kip for the night and everything else. I tend to like to build small little outposts here, there, and everywhere. I plan to expand this downwards because I plan to put a lot more maps in and stuff. And I'm sort of thinking I'm not so keen on the way this map sort of folds around the corner, so I might make a more straight wall for that map, and that'll probably work out a bit nicer. Now, as we come around to the other side of this far end of the base, you can probably have seen what we started on. We've got a few houses all around here that we're having to walk around, but there's this big sort of almost squarish building. I tried to make it as not square as possible, but there was no getting around the fact that it is a square building here. It's this big square block that's sitting in the corner here. This is a mob farm. This is actually based on Nembon's design of mob farms. Now, it doesn't look like anything that Nembon's done. That's because everything, again, I like to try and sort of blend it with the style of the world around it. If we go into here, I've got a couple of blocks, so I wanted to try and keep it as dark as possible. You can see we have like a flushing farm design here. Though it seems to, now this is why it's not been working. It's kind of sort of stuck at the moment, so I might have to go in there and sort of give it a bit of a prop and get it moving again at some point. But yeah, this is like an internal massive mob farm in here. It's based on the designs that Nembon's done. Not as effective as I hoped to be, but I think that's probably because I haven't lit up the area as well as it should be for it to actually function correctly. But yeah, that whole building is that. But when I was building it, I got a bit carried away with it. And I mean, by carried away with it, I decided, right, not only did I want to make the outside of the building look like I'm fitting with the rest of the design of the keep, and we've got a couple of houses built in the top here as well, around the mechanisms. But when we came to doing the AFK spot, I decided to build a tower, and I overbuilt the tower a little bit. But we have like elevators and everything else in here. If we go straight up to the top first, at the very top, we have, you might have seen it as we were looking out from other distances there, we have this big bowl on the top of the tower, and this is actually my ice farm. So this area is at a sort of altitude in the biome that produces ice. So I fill this area just up with water. It's not automatic or anything else like that. It's just a manual ice farm here. But yeah, I just fill it up with water, let it freeze over, and then I can come up here with a pick with silk touch on it and just basically mine as much ice as I need. And as you can see, it's right the way up there, right at the very top. But if we come down a bit then, so this is, I actually built a little too far. We've got this nice little observation platform up here as well, with a little bit of an everwell there on the corner there, just to use to refill up and top up the ice farm at the top. I then built a couple of levels down. This is the perfect AFK location. So this AFK here is apparently within the right location for actually triggering the mob farm beneath. So we have, that's platform marks that. And then if we come down a level, got a little bit of a bedroom set up for ourselves here, somewhere to go to kip, and somewhere where we've got a little crafting station, furnaces and everything. It's all up here, quite convenient. Actually, is this getting to, oh, it's not quite dark yet. We might need to come back in a minute, but we can get some sleep in a second. The next level, I was going to put an enchanting room in there. I actually have an enchanting station over in the main keep. We've got the bookcases. I just need to actually get myself enough diamonds together to actually put an enchanting table in there, but this will be an enchanter's area. And then we got this. This is the first ship that I built. I built an airship for myself down on here. So this one is the DAS Tabithia. I'll show you a couple of ships that I built after this, and I built some on based on the designs of Lord Dakar. But this one I built from scratch myself straight off this airship. I'm quite happy the way this turned out, actually. We've got like a little cabin at the back here with a map on there showing the areas around. We've got the bed at the back for the captain, and he's got his own little dinner table there as well. And then beneath the main deck here as well, we've got a little cargo area here. So if we come down, got a few beds on the end here for the crew, including a little portal as well, so they can look out while they're flying along there at the moment. Then we've got all our cargo stored in here beneath the cargo hatch here. And it's a nice little sort of merchant craft, not anything designed for war or anything else like that, it's just a little merchant craft. And yeah, that pretty much fills with this tower. I was debating about building a second ramp coming off here to a second airship, but I thought, no, that won't work, that won't work. So over the front here, I was going to have another airship floating off down the front, somewhere over the city here. All right, what a view we get from up here as the sun is setting down here. We can see the sun settling over the top of this. And you say, we're going to have a look at this area in a minute, the harbour as well. At this end of the base as well, we've got the entrance to the bridge, or the entrance to the bridge. We've got the bridge here that comes back to the keep. So this just leads us over to the keep itself. This is the front side of the keep. What we've seen around the back and what we sort of had a quick look in from the other side there. If we go down this way, back the other way we come, we've got the entrance to the actual fortification. What's the main entrance? There's a couple of entrances. There's one just there. You can see those little towers in the distance. That leads to what was going to be my original harbour. Then I realised the space wasn't really quite appropriate. So I might build a little fishing village or something out there at a later point. That's part of my expansion plans for this place. But down this way, there's a bit of a tunnel that goes through the side of the mountain here. So we can come through here. And we've got these like little battlements on either side. So that if we were ever to come under attack here, the attackers would get funneled into here and then basically be quite easily picked off before they can get to the main keep itself. This area I plan to sort of turn into a bit of a defensive fortified area, so we'll probably build a little fortification here to be able to defend the ships in the harbour, and we'll also have an extra gateway here and everything. And if we go over here, we go through this bit here. I think they call it a barbican, don't they? It's like a big extended extra fortification before the entrances. If we go over here and through to here, we have what is the harbour. So this is the section I am currently working on at the moment. So I've been putting quite a lot of work recently into my harbour area. It's not quite finished yet. There's still a lot to be done. But we have quite a bit here already. So you can see these wonderful little ships all sat here in the harbour here. And now I will say these two ships you see here, these are based on designs by Lord Dakar. I would certainly go, and if you're interested in building ships, certainly go and check out his tutorials. They are a little bit older. Oh, squid. I'm always after squid. We're going to grab him in a minute. Yeah, sorry. We've got these two ship designs here by Lord Dakar. I've adapted them. So they're using different style materials for here. He does use like texture packs and everything else, and his look absolutely beautifully stunning. But I wanted to come up with sort of a design that matches these. I would certainly recommend checking out the tutorials for both of these on his channel. I mean, as I said, mine's been a little bit adapted from what he's got. I've used like some steps on the front here, whereas he doesn't. He uses just main blocks on there. And like on his version of the Victory, this is basically designed on the design of the HMS Victory. I adapted the design of the sails like they used on his 6th rate ship of the line, which is this one on the right here. Used the same sort of design for the Victory here for the mast and everything else. So we've done a few things that we adapted differently. Different designs for the cannons as well. They're not quite complete. I want to put item frames on the end of these and put some something in the item frames to sort of finish them off. I sort of started doing it on this one over here. You can see there's a cannon on the left there that's got one. But we've started doing out these. We started doing the interiors as well. This one's interior is mostly done. You got like the ship's bell there that we're walking past. If we go down into here, we've got a couple of storage decks and we've got the cannon decks and everything down here. And we've got a little galley in there as well. Then we've got the cannons up on the deck here as well. I love these cargo hatches. I like this for the cargo hatch, sort of the white iron hatches here. I think they look really like a proper sort of cargo hatch that you get on these sort of style of ships. This one here, which is based off the design of the HMS Victory, which is from one of my hometowns, or my hometown of Portsmouth, is actually sat there in the historical dockyard there. I have been on the Victory, so it's a beautiful ship. This is based on that design. It's a first-rate ship of the line. It's got like a triple deck of 3 actual decks of guns, solid guns, and then there's another deck above which has got a few more guns as well on it. She was a bit of a ship here as well. And this one's been done all the way across. We got like ladders going down into all the levels. We got like areas where the Admiral would be sleeping, and the Admiral's quarters, sorry, and the Captain's quarters. They're all there. And we got like holds down below as well. So this goes through decks and decks. I mean, we got this one here. We've got a few bits like little rooms off to the side, and storerooms and quarter decks and everything else like that. Quarter decks? It's not quarter decks, is it? Mess halls, I think, is the proper term, isn't it, on a naval ship? And we come down to here. We've got the lower cargo deck here. Even have live chickens on board the ship as well, so they can get fresh eggs. This is for I'll probably bring a cow down here at some point, but actually I'm not sure how I'm going to bring a cow down here easily. Freshwater tanks at the bottom here of the ship itself, in the ship's hold. And yeah, that's this is this ship here. Let's go and see if we can get those squid. See if we can find that squid. Hang on, bear with me a second. Then the reason why I'm so excited for the squid is I haven't built a squid farm yet. But as you can see, all these cannons, they need an awful lot of ink, black ink to get them going, to actually construct them. And yeah, I've always having to keep an eye out for squid and going for them there. So if we dive over the bay here, where's he gone? Ah, there he is. He's over there. Right, okay. While we're going over there, we can actually see there, we've also got this lighthouse here. And this lighthouse was actually, I got the base part of the design from a site called Plots. I'll leave the link down there. I use it quite often, Plots, for like building the domes and the any circular towers and everything else. It's really handy for working out how they should be plotted out there. So I do recommend it if you're playing Minecraft and want to build anything circular. Plots is absolutely fantastic. But they had a design for a lighthouse. Very basic design, but I used that as the basis and then just added to it in quite a way that it ended up like it is now. Right, come here. Right, you... No. Yes, got you. Right, have I got the... And I got the ink sacks. 3 ink sacks. Nice. Nice, that's good. But yeah, this is... so those first 2 designs were based on Lord Dakar's designs, but we have a few more ships over here. I built them based on Lord Dakar's design because A, the ships looked absolutely gorgeous, so I had to do it. And also B, because I never built ships before, so I wanted to... get a bit of experience with what he did there before I went and built my own and come up with my own designs. And then these ones over here are the beginnings of me making my own designs. So we have these 3 here, these small, tiny ones. These are like little scout ships. So I'm going to build a scout ship like the outposts I got out in the world that I can go and visit. So I could probably build these out and about in the ocean, and I have somewhere that I can come and sort of jump on board. And we've got a bed and a crafting table and a furnace. We've got all the basics here. A couple of chests underneath in the hold itself. Nothing that's too big, nothing too fancy. Something that's going to be nice and quick and easy to build. So if I wanted to build like something out in the world, I could actually go and build these out and about as a little bit of an outpost that I can go and kip in when we're out at sea. And then I've got this one behind here as well, which is like basically almost like a gunship. It's got like 4 cannons at the front, more along the side here. Technically, probably falls in the 6th rate ship of the line, like the other one we saw over there, but it's a different design. Sort of has a bit more of that sort of galleon sort of feel to it because of the way it's built together and everything else like that. But I quite like that. Plus, we started working on dry dock, so you've got another one of that same design sat up there in a dry dock on a ramp that's ready to bring it down. You can see it just there in the distance. We've been working on it there. We've got this bit of a bastion here where we've got a few cannons that are looking out into the bay here. We've still got to add a few more cannons into here. It's missing a few. We've only just started adding cannons to that one after we've decked out all the ships. But we've got this massive dry dock here. Love this dry dock here. It took me ages. There was a mountain here originally. So I not only chopped away down into the ground to build the dry dock, and we seem to have a spider hiding underneath our ship there. But not only did we have to dig all the way down, because this goes about 8 levels below sea level, but actually there was a mountain here that I had to get rid of as well first. So this was quite a big dig out to actually do this. But it's another version of the ships, like a first-rate ship of the line, like the one we see over there. But this one is one that's under construction, so we've got all these cranes sitting there, dropping stuff over into there. Plus, in the archways down here, we've got a load of things. We've got another little pub in here, which seems to have a zombie dancing on the table. That's new. Okay. I guess the zombie wants a pint. Right, okay, we'll move on there before he spots us too much. We were talking about train stations earlier. Yeah, there's another little subway train station here. This is just like to drop people off into here. And then if we come over to here, we have like a little logging yard. We've got this area was going to be like a little canteen for the workers. And then we've got little furnaces at the end here and a bit of an office working space over here. And then we've got a bunch of tree farms. This is I was doing all my tree farming out the front of the fort, but now I've actually built some inside these little archways down here. So like if we try to check this one out, first of all, you got like this is a oak farm. It grows all the oak that we need, and any sort of oak planks that we need, we get them all from there. The one beside it, this is a birch one. No, it's not birch, is it? It's beech. We don't do birch in Thingbob. Oh no, it is birch, isn't it? Yeah, birch farm here. So we got a few in there. And then if we go onto the one beside it, we've got an acacia one. So we got those there if we want any redwood. I don't tend to use acacia as much. I'll show you the spruce one in a minute, but that's something different again. That's something else. This is our 3rd vault. So I got another vault down here. This one doesn't have any automatic sorting, but I found myself like just dumping loads of stuff in the chests on the ships and just ending up with all sorts of horrendous mess. So literally about a week or 2 ago, I built this vault just to basically make it a bit easier to sort through. And then we got another nether portal down here as well. So we got a portal here that also connects through to the nether and makes it a bit easier transporting from one end of the base to the other. But let's go back to that spruce farm a second. So this is our spruce farm. And yeah, we have a couple of elevators here because it's not just like a normal sized spruce farm. It actually goes all the way to the bottom. I haven't got any spruces in there at the moment, but we grow mega spruces in here. So these come all the way up inside this chamber. They can reach up to just below these hatches. That's why these hatches exist, so we can just open the hatches and jump onto the top of the trees to farm them, so we don't have to actually rope up the side of the trees. But they do grow to different sizes, so we have also down here a couple of platforms that we can come down to, and from here we can just jump onto the different sized trees. And when I was digging this out, I hit an absolute stroke of luck. I mean, literally stroke of luck. Though at the time, I was cursing my luck at the time, because as I'll show you in a minute. If we come down the side here, using these water elevators, there we go, drop down onto here. Not only do we have space for the spruce farm, but as I was cutting down, we ended up encountering a bunch of skeletons. And it turns out there's a skeleton spawner down here at the absolute perfect, literally could not have planned it any better. It's in the perfect location in that wall that we can actually embed it into this wall beside the spruce farm itself. And so while we're cutting down the spruces, while we're working down these mega spruces, we're doing it, this place starts filling up with skeletons and they start coming through. And they'll probably come up in a minute here. End up on here, and we have ourselves a bit of an XP farm. But of course, also they produce loads and loads of bone. And because they produce loads and loads of bone, we can then use all of that for making bone meal for actually growing our trees with. I can't actually see the skeletons, but I can hear a zombie. There's loads of like chambers around here. Oh, there we are. There's a skeleton popping through. I was starting to wonder then. Starting to worry that it may have broken itself. But nope, there we are. There's a skeleton coming through. They sometimes get stuck here, and you usually find the next guy comes along, pushes them forward, and they end up flying up the stream. So you still get quite a nice rate coming through here. We get lots of bones and lots of XP out of it as well. But yeah, there we go. That's that side of things. And then if we come over to the other side here a second. Oh, look at that. We got like 4 of them over there. Wow. Right. Okay, let's go get them. Oh, seriously. Like, it's like I spend days and never see a squid. And while we're recording this, we have 4 of them there, all in a little cluster here. That's like so handy. Right, okay. Let's see if we can get these and take them out before they all swim off. Actually, my sword's not going to last very long, so let's see if we can kill him before the sword dies. Ah, he's swimming off. Come back, come back, come back. Come back. Don't swim off. I want to be a friend. Like that. Ah, there we are. We got his ink sac, so we got 5. And let's go and get the others. Hang on. You guys didn't see what I just did to your mate. You guys didn't see what we did to your mate here. Come here. Dum-dum-dum-dum. He's off again. Right. It's always the case. I never seem to be able to kill him quick enough to be able to actually get everything out there. And they always shoot off like this. And it's like you end up swimming after them and then burning up all your stamina trying to get them. Let's have a look. Come here. Come here. There we are. We got him. Right. Okay. Did we get the ink sac? No, we didn't. The ink sac is somewhere around here. There it is. Thank you. There we are. 6. Right. Okay. So we have... Where's the rest? Come on. Back here. Back here. They're like London buses. You wait ages for one and one never shows up. And then when they do turn up, they all turn up with 3 or 4 of them at the same time. But now I seem to have lost them. Oh, there's one. Oh, there's a dolphin under there. I'll tell you what, if the creators of Minecraft wanted to confuse us, they could turn around and add sharks. And you'll think they're dolphins, and then... I shouldn't give them ideas, actually. But, yeah, you could have sharks in here, and then people think they're dolphins, and then suddenly go and swim up to them, and then they'll suddenly end up being attacked by these sharks. That would be quite cool. As we come around to this side, this is the side of the harbour that's still got to be finished. I built the walls, so I know the area we're doing here. This is all going to be filled with sort of housing and shops and all that sort of stuff here. But I have just built over here a couple of small little things here. So we have a village breeder. I told you before, I had a bit of a disaster with my first village breeder. I had one of those sort of compact designs that sort of crammed loads of villagers into a very tight space. It ended up losing loads of villagers for me, actually. There was loads in there one day, and then the next day I came, and there were none. I lost all my villagers, so that wasn't too great. But I recently, the other day, built a brand new one here. This one, it works much better. Haven't had any problems so far, touch wood, on this one at the moment. And this one is based on a design by jbob3mm on YouTube. I'll leave, again, the link to the village breeder down there. There's a couple of others I've seen do very similar ones to this idea as well on there. So there's a few people who've got tutorials for this one out here, but it's worth checking them out. It's a great little breeder. Bleeder? No, he's not a bleeder. It's a breeder that we use here. And next door to it, I then built myself a village trade hall. There's this little trade hall up here. So if we come up into here, we haven't quite finished sorting them out. It's only quite a brand new facility here, but we've got a couple of villagers here that we can trade with. I've got a few bits of XP waiting around for me there. I better have those back, thank you. But yeah, these are quite handy. And then on the floor above here, we actually have a space where we actually can sort the villagers out, see if we want to keep them or not. If we don't want to keep them for this, then I'm storing them up and I'm going to send them all over to my iron farm to help increase the efficiency there, because it hasn't quite got as many villagers there as it should do to actually give it the best efficiency there. So that brings me to the end of this video for today. As I say, I'll probably do a couple of Let's Play videos as well. I do stream this also over on Twitch, so feel free to go and catch us up there as well. But yeah, as I say, I'm going to plan to do a few more videos like this and post them up to YouTube, hopefully on a regular basis, just doing catch-ups and little bits of Let's Play and everything else like that, show you the development of the thing. But this first one, I just wanted to show you where we are now, and we'll talk more about what server I'm on and what I'm doing here in future videos as well. So hopefully you guys will come back if you've enjoyed this. Click like below, turn around and subscribe to the channel, and we hope to see you again in the future. Thank you all. Good night.